I didn't even have time to get a haircut, but
Yeah. And then we can talk about my blue eye I also received yesterday.
Yeah, you got a bit of a black eye there.
Yeah. That's fight with a robotic. That's why we don't can trust within them.
Did you got hit by a robot?
No.
Hi, and welcome to the Manufacturing Matters podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about matters in manufacturing. And today I'm going to talk to Kenneth about resilience in manufacturing processes. Hi, Kenneth.
Hi, Michael.
It's really good to have you along.
Thank you for being here.
Yes. I've seen your face in the office a lot of times. It's really good to get you on camera again. Could you just introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Kenneth Ranzau. I'm working with Omron Electronics here in Denmark as a business development manager, but mainly handling pharmaceutical customers and food and beverage.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah, those are two industries that work well with Factbird as well. So It's a really nice partnership that we have. And what have you done? You've been in manufacturing for a while, right?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot within manufacturing processes in different kind of industries. I've been working with companies for robotics, and I have been working within fluid companies for automotive industries and appliance parts. So, and now today I'm in the industry of automation. With Omron.
That's like Omron's keyword, right?
Yep.
Automation. What does Omron do then?
So we are manufacturer of components for automation lines.
Yeah.
We want to do flexible manufacturing and providing that with our components.
Yeah.
For instance, control components, robotics. Yeah, all equipment that you actually could have within an automation line.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the philosophy and idea.
And the company's been around for a long time, right? It started out in Japan.
It started out in Japan in 1933. If I recall it right. So it's, we just had a 90 years anniversary.
Okay.
So, yep.
And how many people in the company?
I think now today we are around 25,000 employees globally.
Yeah, it's a fair few more than Factbird.
Yeah, a bit, just a bit.
Well, one day we'll get there.
One day you will get there.
Yeah. Did you all get together for the 90th anniversary?
No, sadly not, because it was under the COVID period. We missed that.
Yeah.
But we will love to go to Kyoto in Japan. So looking forward.
Yeah, because you're Omron Europe, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So you got a lot of experience in manufacturing processes. Omron's started out in controllers, right? And then it's moved into robotics more?
It started out with a timer for X-ray, and we have built it up so it's control parts and robotics, and we acquired companies, and we have a lot of components within that platform.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those companies that I didn't really know about before I started at Factbird, and now I'm like, oh my god, it's a big operation everywhere. Good. So so you've got a lot of experience. Omron's very good at automation. So we're going to talk about how do we build more resilience into manufacturing processes.
Yep.
So first of all, let's define resilience here. What do we mean by that?
Yeah, by resilient, it's meaning that you are aware of what is ongoing in your production and that you are doing something about it right in time. So forth. So it could be that if you have a motor that you want to be assuring that it's up and running fully, and you want to predict something that it's going down, then you are not aware of what's ongoing, so to say. So resilience is being aware of what is ongoing on your line and doing something about it just in time.
Yeah, okay, wow. Yeah, so resilience is about being aware of what's happening, so transparency, and it's also reliability, right?
It's also about reliability and assuring that you have a production up and running all the time.
Yeah,
and being flexible.
You invest so much in the machines, you got the people there, you want to be making as much as possible with those resources.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's also about using your resources right on the line, because you are aware of what you actually should spend your money on, so to say.
Yeah.
So that's resilience is a huge topic, and it's many things. And to be able to have resilience, you need data.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's a big part of the connection between Omron and Factbird, right? Because Factbird's, of course, also very interested in efficiency and sort of getting more out of the equipment that you have and using data to figure that out. And Omron's doing the same, but bigger company making a lot of stuff. But yeah, so why is resilience so important? You gave a really good definition of it, but what does it sort of lead on to?
So it leads on to that collecting data from the line, from our control equipment or sensors whatsoever, and then doing analysis on these, being able to, using, for instance, the Factbird solution in the cloud, that you actually could be seeing these data more with a view that you can see, okay, now we have a line that is going downwards in the capacity, but why is it? And then we are doing this analysis through your system, for instance, being aware of what's ongoing, and then you can actually get these data real time to do something about it. So that could be something about being aware and doing something that makes you flexible on the line, and to do predictive maintenance, for instance.
What is predictive maintenance then?
Predictive maintenance is being aware of what's ongoing and doing something on the machine before that it will have a breakdown.
So instance. It's not just reacting, but sort of using data to predict what's going to break down. So you need to have sensors out, you need to have some way of getting the data. I think Omron works with OPC, UA, and MQTT.
There's a lot of communication protocols that we are transparent with and can use. So it could be, you're saying MQTT, it could be UPC, UA, TCP, Modbus, whatsoever, Ethernet, EtherCAT, depending on what
I got some of those.
So depending on what the customers have, and our controllers are more or less flexible for a lot of all these kind of protocols and communications.
Awesome. So predictive maintenance was a really good example of why resilience is so important. So that's, you could say it's a buzzword almost. Like it's something that people hear a lot about in manufacturing.
It is.
Have you got any more examples of uses or where resilience comes into and sort of helps out?
Resilience, and it's also about quality control, for instance. If you are having a product on the line and suddenly you see a trend that your quality is going downwards, then you want to be resilient or aware. You are actually aware of what's ongoing because it could be you have had vision equipment tracking your products and also analyzing the status of the shapes of it, so forth. So it can be many things about doing and ensuring your quality is up to the level that you want. And by drop down, or decrease of your quality, then you can actually change over to a new equipment or to a new product or whatsoever, so that you are resilient and doing something and making you flexible on your line.
So you're looking like, so if you notice your quality is going down at the end of the line, then you can look through the whole process and see what's happening at each stage. Maybe there's a lot of waste sneaking in at some point as well, especially in food and bev, right? So that whole philosophy of resilience helping out with that. So through sensors on the line, detecting what's happening.
Exactly.
Are there any other areas or buzzwords that we can bring up where resilience helps?
You can also be resilient is also about having a proper supply chain, for instance. So having your products flowing around in the production just in time, for instance, could be some of the cases. So having a system that you rely on is also that you are aware of what is ongoing on your line and what kind of products needs to be used on the different kind of lines at these times of where you have the challenges, so to say.
Yeah. So there's a lot of challenges right now. So I guess Omron comes in a lot with the automation because the worker shortage. I saw there's like 15 million people in manufacturing in Europe, but there's going to be by 2030, if I remember it right, like 1 million people short. So yeah, we need more automation for that.
We need automation. We need to rely on that our automation is working properly.
Yeah.
Because we have shortage of hands, so to say.
Yeah, and then
productions.
And you brought up just in time as well, and that sort of ties into so when you like supply chains have become a lot more complicated since the pandemic, especially, and geopolitical difficulties and trade becoming more difficult, or can we get semiconductors from here or whatever? So it's so important right now to use data to be a lot more resilient in your production processes
and efficient, for instance. So we're also talking about a sustainable world. So by using all this kind of data, you're also able to maybe be much more efficient. And that's also about reliability and awareness on your production. So if your consumption suddenly goes up on a certain machine, why does it do it?
Yeah.
Is it because you are going to have a breakdown or whatsoever? So that's also where we are using the data into the cloud through Factbird and being aware of what's ongoing with the machines.
Yeah, I really like that with manufacturing or working in manufacturing efficiency, that a lot of it's looking at the bottom line and reducing costs and that, but there's also that sustainability part of it, because if you're reducing waste and becoming more productive, or you're using your machines better and increasing your output, then you're also creating more with less.
Yeah.
So
you're earning more money.
Yeah, it's a good.
That's how it is.
And then sustainability works when you connect those two things.
Exactly.
So that's some really good. So we talked about what resilience is and why it's important. So how can you do this? Like how can you start collecting data and build more resilience into your processes?
So there's a lot of things that need to work, but you could do it from an controller and PLCs, that you actually could shoot these data that you are collecting from the machines to the cloud, and then start to do analysis on these.
Yeah. What type of analysis would you talk about at Omron?
We have OEE.
Yeah.
We have batch control, for instance.
Yeah.
We have energy consumption measurings, about energy in general.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of functionalities within the analysis systems that you can do.
Yeah, and it's like we talk about OE a lot at Factbird as well. But it's not everything, right? So there's different sort of stakeholders in the manufacturing processes with different focuses. Yeah, it's good to be able to cover all of it. So you mentioned getting data from PLC. So with Omron, you can shoot data straight from the PLC to the cloud?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We have the cooperation with Factbird, for instance, which makes us able to have this kind of gateway directly to the cloud.
Yeah. And that's something that's like in the library of the device, right?
Exactly.
So it's just you can turn it on.
Yeah, something like turn it on.
Yeah.
Getting a certificate for our controllers, and then we are able to actually get to the cloud from that gateway without using a SCADA or a SCADA system, for instance, or mesh system, something like that.
So that was super interesting. So you can take data directly from PLCs, shoot it into Factbird, but it doesn't have to go to Factbird, right?
No, we have various of cloud services that we can go to, or SQL servers or so forth.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunities. And we're working also, if we should work on 3 kind of principles on how to collect data. Omron Factbird solution is working on the 3 scenarios, that is don't touch, read out, and total control.
Yeah.
So that could be something that we could discuss as well. If we are talking about, for instance...
Yeah, what's the difference between don't touch, read out, and total?
Don't touch area, if you have a system that you want to get data from, but you're not able because it's a validated system, then you have the possibility to add on a control on the side and put barcode readers, sensors around the machine to get data and do analysis on these. Yeah.
So there's no sort of disruption to production, right? And you're not changing anything, so it's, don't touch. Yeah.
And then we have the readout.
Yeah.
is where you are able and capable of getting into the controller on the machine and collect the data, and then throw it to the cloud through an Omron FactBot solution.
And then what's total control then?
Total control is if you are having a complete machine with an Omron controller, that then you actually just need to add on the FactBot lib library, and then you're able to throw it to the cloud.
So Don't Touch is you sort of chuck something on the side with a sensor, right? Getting the data, and then
you have a brilliant example down in your coffee room. You have you want to track, for instance, that you can't get into the coffee machine.
Shouldn't.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
We could.
But then you add some sensors to see, okay, when you push start, then you have the efficient measurement on the consumption of energy.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can also see with a photoelectric sensor that, okay, now there is a cup or glass.
That's very cool that you bring up that example. So you've got the production count with the light sensor, and then you've got the clip-on energy monitor just checking the energy consumption.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a very good example of Don't Touch. And then read out is you don't have an Omron PLC necessarily, and then you connect that PLC to an Omron PLC.
It could be that you have a PLC from another brand, and then you want to take out the data from all the sensors on this.
Use what you have already.
Exactly, use what we have. But the brand PLC that we don't know is not able to give you the info in a cloud-based solution. Then you actually are able to have the Omron controller on top, which can be used to share the info as a gateway.
Yeah, and then the other one is the perfect solution. You've already got Omron controllers on your production lines, and then you can the developer turns it on in the library, and then you've got data in the cloud straight away.
And then you need to do some programming engineering, but then you are able to handle the data and to do analysis on the equipment.
That's awesome. It's really good that you bring that up. We've got a good video about those 3 scenarios that I'll include in the show notes on the website, which explains those a bit more. So it's a really good example of actually how you can build resilience into your production processes using these 3 different methods.
At least it's a beginning. It's the wet dream to be able to have this kind of awareness and predictiveness of your machines.
Yeah, exactly.
But surely it will come over time.
Yeah. You got to start somewhere. But we're all moving in that direction. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Been very generous once again for coming to FactBot HQ.
Always.
Okay. And we'll see you again in another podcast.
Thank you.
He always delays turning off the camera a bit. Just
because I find it funny.
Yeah. That's your little revenge for sitting in the corner there. We'll get a bigger studio. We're going to use your studio.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it?